Today, I want to talk about something a little bit controversial. Are autism and ADHD being overdiagnosed? Are people over-pathologizing normal human behaviour and/or looking for excuses to explain difficult behaviour by seeking a diagnosis of autism or ADHD? I was inspired to talk about this topic after reading an article by Dr. Max Pemberton in British newspaper The Daily Mail, as well as an article by Dominic Lawson in The Times. Both of these articles were quite rudely insinuating that ADHD is being massively overdiagnosed and that people just need to put down their phones and learn to concentrate. Both of the articles are focused on the idea that ADHD is the latest must-have trendy diagnosis that people are seeking to explain normal human behaviours. So, Dr. Pemberton says, "Time and time again, I've seen adults claim to have ADHD to explain away the fact that they can't concentrate or focus at work, when what they actually need is to get off their phones and learn to tolerate frustration, boredom, and tedium in life." Ugh. Over the last few years, I've actually seen many articles like this and also articles which talk about the overdiagnosis of autism. So let's get into this. Are autism and ADHD being overdiagnosed? There has been an increase in the number of people, both adults and children, being diagnosed with either autism or ADHD, or like me, with both. And inevitably, this leads to the narrative where some people will ask the question, are we making a mistake and are we overdiagnosing these conditions? So let's look at other potential reasons for this increase in diagnostic rate. Firstly, awareness. The awareness around what autism and ADHD are, what the traits look like, and how the traits can present in different types of people has increased massively over the last few years. Even since I began talking about autism back in 2016, there has been a massive increase in content creators and public speakers sharing their experiences and what they know about these neurodivergent conditions. Alongside this awareness of the diagnostic criteria and extra information about people's experiences has come an awareness and a knowledge of the traits and how they might present differently in people based on things like race or gender or other factors. And an increase in awareness of masking or camouflaging behaviours where neurodivergent people can hide these traits, but this comes at a massive cost to the individual who feels that they need to mask. And all this awareness of different presentations means that more people are likely to identify neurodivergence in themselves because what they thought of autism and ADHD and the stereotypes around that has been challenged. And this leads to more people being able to recognise the traits in themselves and therefore seek assessment or self-diagnose. And alongside all this awareness comes a reduction in stigma, which means that more people are likely to not only seek assessment, but be more open about their own neurodivergent experiences. Another factor is the change in diagnostic criteria. For example, the fact that it used to be that you would be diagnosed with autism or with Asperger's if you didn't have a language delay, whereas those have all been put together now into one diagnostic term of autistic spectrum condition. And the change in autism and ADHD being mutually exclusive, meaning that you couldn't be diagnosed with both, whereas now we know that they're not and you can be diagnosed with both. Additionally, ADHD used to be thought of as a childhood condition which children grew out of, and now we understand that it actually can impact adults as well, which means that there's a whole new demographic of people that might need to seek an ADHD assessment. Naturally, these changes in diagnostic criteria open up the diagnosis for more people, and more people are likely to be diagnosed. I also wonder about the changes in the world. People are exposed to so much more choice and stimulation than ever before. There is so much more to consume, and there's so many more choices to make. And as a neurodivergent person, I wonder whether this means that more autistic people and more ADHDers are being overloaded and overstimulated and suffering from the negative impacts of these conditions, and therefore more likely to identify it in themselves and therefore more likely to add to the numbers of people being diagnosed. Whatever the reasons, there are now more people being diagnosed with neurodivergent conditions, and in the wake of that, there are more people questioning the validity of these diagnoses. So I'd like to talk about how I feel about that. Personally, I don't have any issue with the number of people identifying as neurodivergent. I think if it helps people in their lives to identify how their brain works and how to best support themselves, and it improves the quality of life that they experience, then I just don't see how this could be a bad thing. I think it's important that those people with higher support needs are able to access the support that they need, but I think blaming more neurodivergent people as the reason that they can't is complete misdirection. It seeks to blame rather than to address the real reasons, which are lack of funding and lack of resources and a system that is really challenging to navigate. Not everyone with an autism or ADHD diagnosis will need the same level of support. So let's focus on how to help those people that need it to access the support, rather than pointing fingers and assigning blame to other neurodivergent people. This makes no sense to me. Because the narrative that people are faking having autism and ADHD to access support and money is completely ridiculous. This is simply not happening. The reality is that most people are waiting a really long time to access an assessment, after which they are given no support at all. The other aspect of this whole narrative that I find really difficult is the weight and blame and guilt that adds to people that are already probably carrying quite a large amount of internalised ableism. Personally, I've had to work really hard to move away from the notion that I am the problem. It's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. Finding inner peace, compassion and acceptance is really hard, and when people like Dr. Pemberton make statements like, "Who doesn't get distracted when there's activity or music playing around them? Lots of people find their tasks at work are boring or repetitive," then it minimises the struggle that I've experienced, which goes way beyond finding tasks boring or repetitive. And it makes me question myself. Am I making excuses? When doubt creeps in, it stops people from accessing support and treatment that might help them. And it stops them from believing in themselves as valid humans who are worthy of acceptance. And that is not okay, and it makes me feel really angry and disheartened. So I'll keep trying to combat this by doing what I do here and on my other socials. By spreading awareness and supporting the community, because we are valid and we are worthy. End of. What do you think? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, so please do leave me a comment. If you like the video, do hit the like button, and if you'd like to hear more from me, then don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.